Hello, friends. Um, this is going to be an easy point tutorial for Skedar Ruins Agent. Now, Skedar Ruins as a whole is a pretty malign level for a lot of reasons because there's a lot of like tricks going on and there's seemingly like a lot of randomness going on. So what I'm going to attempt to do is to demystify it a little bit because in my opinion this is actually a great level. So I think explaining a couple things will make it a lot more palatable. The very first thing you're going to want to do is the Callisto, or the Mayan machine gun, and the Mauler. You want to make sure that those are already preset to the secondary fire before you start doing runs. So I recommend either going to the firing range or just going into, maybe like attack ship or something, and just go ahead and presetting those weapons. So before you get to the runs, you just go ahead and have those ready. So let's go ahead and go through this, and I'm going to point out some like finer points.
This is the Skedar fanatic.
You want to cut it about there, where he says Skedar fanatic, because cutting it any earlier than that, sometimes it feels like there's like residual lag going on from the level loading or something weird like that. But for whatever reason, like waiting that long, like it doesn't really have that. So, I mean, it's only waiting a couple seconds. Like I wouldn't risk it to just go ahead. So go ahead and you cut it, pause immediately. You equip the R tracker and the target amplifiers because we need to see where the pillars are because that's the first objective. Now, this is the part of the level that most people hate and can't really get past because it's like, oh, like the pillars are random. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try to make it as convenient as possible. What you want to do when you turn on the R tracker and you unpause, you want to see this set right here, because this first yellow dot is the first pillar you encounter, and then these two pillars up in the corner at like a kind of a 45-degree angle forming almost is going to be the two pillars that are the most convenient because they're right next to each other and you don't have to do any super hard throws. Possibly at a later point, I'll go over the harder throws in a later video because those are more for like if you want to do like much faster runs or like do world record strats, you want to do those pillars instead. So you unpause the game. If you see this, I'd go. If you see anything else, I'd just quit out and just keep quitting out until you get this set, because first of all, if you don't see this first yellow dot super close, like forget it, like it's a waste of your time. Don't even try it. Now I do want to point out this similar looking set that's also possible, where you see this first dot's close, but then the other two dots are almost stacked on top of each other. This sort of looks like this, but in this one, it's actually the furthest pillar possible is what's been spawned here and not the two right next to each other. So if you can get used to looking and seeing like, oh, it's definitely the one I want and not this one where they're stacked on top of each other, then you can instantly go. If not, you see these two and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go. Like, you can run it out because once you turn like the first corner, like getting past the first pillar, you'll find out pretty quick whether the two are actually next to each other or not. So I'm going to go ahead and take that image off and leave this image up because this is the one you want to see when you do runs.
This is special pillars.
So you get around that corner, you place that tracker. Now, you want to hit that large pillar. You want to aim a little bit higher than you think you do, because if you don't, you're very likely to pitch the R tracker into the wall or something. Now, on this particular run, I look exaggeratedly high. You don't have to look as high as I'm about to look. Just make sure you aim like, center of that pillar and look up and just make sure it gets there. Be careful throwing it because you can't rapid fire throw the R trackers. So there's a bit of a delay. Once you play around with it, you'll get used to it. So go after you throw it. Go ahead, get around this corner. Be careful of the Skedar. They could jam you up and they can melee you, which hurts like really bad. And you need health for the grenade boost. So go ahead and get around this corner like best you can and take out the grenade launcher. When you get to right here, we're gonna do where you kind of jump off the cliff and wrap around the wall, and you warp up to the spot where you cross the bridge. Now, this might look goofy, but it's really not. Just don't grind into the wall, but kind of, turn into it and follow it around, and you'll warp up there every time. It's a very consistent thing. It's not hard to do at all. Like, you could even do it by accident if you play around with it. Just mess around with it and get used to it. Now, right here for the grenade boost, this is the quick version of it where I immediately turn in strafe and just shoot and go. But let me show you like what's going on. So this is about what it looks like. You want to like boost off and you want to aim like where this blue line ends over there. If you have enough speed and you aim for that spot, look down, shoot the grenade, it's pretty consistent. Like, you'll get over there like 90% of the time, like unless something dumb happens. If you're uncomfortable with it or you're not getting it, you can always go further back than I do in this example video and get more speed, because the more speed you have, like, the easier it is to do. Just make sure that you aim like for that zone right there, and because you want to aim more to the left, center, not really the right side. That doesn't really work that well. So just aim for that spot, and you should have good fortune with it. Now let's talk about the other part that people hate about ruins, and war for that matter. The door jams are annoying because you could push B on the door and it could open all the way instantly, or it could have a little hairpin crack in it and not open at all, or it could open halfway and freeze where it looks like you can squeeze through but you can't, or it could open, look like it stops, and then sort of open the rest of the way in a slow manner, or it could open, freeze halfway, and then only like the left side of the door will open all the way but not the right, or vice versa. So people hate that, but the good news about ruins is only 2 of those doors have that problem. This first one is one of those doors. So when you hit B on one of the jam doors, you need to be hyper aware of what's going on. Like, do I need to hit B again? Can I go through? Do I need to like turn slightly to get through? So again, just with everything else in this level, the more you play around with it, you'll get used to it. Just make a note of this first door. This second door does not jam, but there's a Skedar in front of it. Now, on this run, I just strafe around him on like a very tight catwalk where I could be shot off, pushed off, walk off. You don't have to do that. You're more than welcome to just up C into this dude and shoot him with the Callisto. Like, it won't take that many bullets, and you might lose like 0.2, 0.3 maybe. It's not a big deal if you just want to shoot him. So whatever you're more comfortable with, just go ahead, just get around him or kill him and get through the next door.
The inner sanctum can't be far away.
This door does not jam. This door does jam. Pay attention.
Oh no!
This door does not jam.
Skedar army suspended animation.
This is the final door before the boss. It does not jam. Now, when you get through here, you want to immediately start shooting at the king, and you want to make your way over to this box on the left and shoot it and blow it up to take out the mauler, and then just start running and shooting the king until the shield around him turns like this green black color, and then you want to get in position for the pillars. Now go ahead, when you're in this position, either pause to switch weapons or switch weapon and then pause back. Because what we're doing is we're going to quick reload the gun and quick switch it back out. If you've ever played Duel before, you'll understand the principle. But this is a big part of the ending. So make sure you get this technique down of quick reloading and quick switching back to the weapon, because it's extremely important. Now, we get here. The king's going to run in the middle and just pose there, and that's when the shields come down on these 5 pillars. Now, at the base is where the bottom 2 like sort of meet in the middle. You want to aim for about right in there, and you want to make sure that, because these high impact rounds of the secondary fire, like, they have penetration, so you want to make sure that, you know, in theory, you're hitting both of them at the same time, so they both fall off at the same time. It saves an extremely high amount of time once you get this technique down. So you definitely want to make sure that you get this down. It's a bit finicky sometimes, and you might have to play around with the angle and all that, but all in all, like, aim somewhere near like the center base where you're hitting both of them at the same time, and like eventually it'll click. Like, it's sort of a feel thing. It's kind of hard to explain just with a video, but just play around with it again, just like everything else, and you'll eventually get the hang of it. Once they break off, he's going to try to run away. Immediately start shooting him again till his shield turns black, and then he's going to run back to the middle. Now, at this point, you're going to take out the Mauler, because a 3 ammo charge on the Mauler will instantly destroy like one of the remaining pillars. So it is slightly faster to use it with that than the Callisto. So I recommend with that, like, going forward. If you want to get a hang of the run and you just want to use the Callisto the whole time at first, like, that's okay. But eventually you need to switch to the Mauler. I turn off auto aim here for convenience. You don't have to turn it off. You could choose the R aim at the pillars, and auto aim will lock back onto the king when he tries to run away and you shoot him again. I just like having auto aim off, and I'd rather do it that way. So again, start with 20 ammo. You're going to pause buffer it down, or not if you don't want to pause buffer, but I extremely recommend it, till it gets down to 17. That's a 3 charge, and then you're going to shoot one of the pillars. Once it's broke off again, he's going to try to run away, do another 3 charge, and shoot him, and he should go back to the middle. Now this part, it should only take a 2 charge, I think. Let me double check that real quick. Let's see, 8, 7, 6. Okay. And that's it. I see. 111, like, that's pretty good with that. I'm like, you can get like 110 without doing like the faster pillars and all that. In general, like something like 111, 112, 113, like, that's really simple to do with this strat if you get used to it. So I recommend just going in with that, like, quitting out until you get this proper pillar set will save you a whole lot of time and a whole lot of headache, just like waiting around. Like, you're not going to waste a bunch of time. So just go through and practice these strats, give it a try, and you'll see over time that, like, this is really not that bad. Like, it's actually a pretty good level in my opinion.